I did a speakdom in the past about how to build up your confidence. And in that speakdom, I kind of explained to everybody that the best way to build up your confidence is to win something, is to become a winner. I don't believe in this everybody gets a trophy mentality. I don't believe that. There's a difference between people who are haves and have nots. And while I feel like every human being on earth deserves human rights, everyone deserves the right to live and work and be happy, not everyone's going to get there. And not everyone's going to work as hard as others. That's a fact. But when it comes to confidence, these are things that can be explored and can be dealt with if you are lacking it in your life. Now, I want to discuss a bit more about this topic and give you a practical idea on how you can actually increase or improve your confidence level. Now, before I go into that, I want to tell you that I understand what it's like not being confident. When I was in high school, I was kind of a popular guy because I was into all the stuff that everybody else was into. During the late 90s, early 2000s, I was into, hey, Dragon Ball and anime. I was into pro wrestling when it was super hot. I was into video games. I was into rap music. I was kind of a guy who was a jack of all trades, but that's just who I was. That was me, and I was kind of a class clown. But I was nervous when it came to talking to girls. I never went to prom. I never went to homecoming because I just always thought that was the night where everybody got laid. And even though I didn't really consciously know at the time, I realized now that I was afraid. And I didn't start talking to girls confidently and actually going into the dating world until I turned 19, till after I graduated high school. So, yeah, missed potential, but I'm not mad about it because everyone has their own path. So if you're out there and you're maybe a late bloomer, it's okay. It's okay. So the first thing you have to do, like I said before, to gain confidence is to win at something. But first thing you have to do even before that is you have to figure out what it is that you're lacking confidence in. Because the thing is, you can be really confident when it comes to certain aspects of who you are. Like on the basketball court, you can be confident. Or in the classroom, you can be confident. Taking exams, you can be confident. But then when you talk to a girl or a boy or whatever you're into, we have a lot of different people that watch me, you freeze up. You're afraid. You're afraid of them, not liking you. You're afraid of them finding out something about you that they may not agree with. It might be a political thing or just something minor like your body odor. You may be worried about these things. You might be worried about quitting your job. Maybe your dream is to become a musician, but you're afraid of actually starting a band. Maybe you play your guitar at night, or maybe you're an artist and you draw and you want to put your art out there, but you're afraid of criticism or you're afraid of somebody shitting on it. So what I want to do first of all is tell you the first thing you want to do is sit down and try to identify what it is that you are lacking confidence in. Now, you don't have to tell me this or anybody else. This is your own private journaling. And this is always something that a lot of therapists recommend for people to do, and that is journal their thoughts because when you write something out, it's almost like a form of therapy. You're expressing yourself, but at the same time, you're not risking humiliation. Obviously, there are things that everybody hides because they're afraid of others knowing about it. So just be mindful that it'll only be yours. It'll only be yours and yours alone. So write down the things that you feel you want to have more confidence in, right? Like, I want to be confident enough to go ask for a raise. I want to be confident enough to go try a new career. I want to be confident enough to go talk to this crush I have. I want to be confident enough to go out and make new friends. I want to be whatever it is. Everyone's different. Write it down. And on that same piece of paper, and when I say write it down, don't type it out. Actually write it down with your hand. There's a mental mechanism where when your brain is giving signals to your hands when you're writing something out, it actually is more powerful and it sticks with you more. I used this trick once to pass an exam when I was in college. Did a whole video about that a couple of years ago about how to pass exams, my trick to studying. So anyways, do this. And then I want you to sit there and examine what it is that you wrote down, and I want you to write down what you're actually afraid of. What I mean is not what you're lacking confidence in necessarily. That's the first thing you write down, but what outcome you are afraid of. For example, let's say that you go and you ask for a raise at your job, right? You go and you ask for a raise. What are you worried about? Is it the fact that your boss might laugh at you? Is it the fact that your boss might fire you? Is it the fact that your boss might cut your hours, leading to a termination? What is the worst that could happen? So what you want to do is you want to write down the worst that could happen, and then right next to it, write down the best that could happen. This all ties in together with what's called FOF, fear of failure, and with what's called catastrophizing, which I've done videos on. Catastrophizing is you're going to be purposely doing it here for a reason. This is a mental exercise. If you write down, I'm going to get fired, right? Let's say that's what you're worried about. That is your biggest concern. You have to, at that point, think, okay, what is the likelihood of this happening, and what can I do to prevent it from happening while still trying to do this? So, how can you talk to your boss and ask him about getting a raise without worry of being fired? Well, it depends on how you word things. So if you go in there and you use your ego and your arrogance and you say, look, I've been here for 10 years, damn it, you need to give me a raise or I'm out. You never want to give somebody an ultimatum like that when you don't have to. But if you go in there and you say something like, look, I've been here for X number of years, I appreciate everything that you've done, I've worked hard for this company, and I was wondering, maybe I can get a little bit more compensation, or what can I do to earn that compensation? Because sometimes what they'll do is they'll say, oh, this guy really wants to work, and they might even promote you. These are things you have to think about, man. And I'm telling you this from being in the corporate sphere for a big chunk of my adulthood and understanding how this works. So when you think about things like this, what you're doing is you're telling your brain it's going to be all right. You're not going to get fired. You're not going to get fired. And if they fire you, then that means they didn't even value you to begin with, which means you probably have another opportunity coming down the pipeline. But you don't want to think about negativity. You want to think about, okay, this is probably not going to happen. So what's the worst that could happen? He's going to say no. Same thing goes for talking to a crush or, trying to rehearse or audition, that is, for a play or whatever. The worst that could happen is they say no. And yes, no can hurt. No can make you feel like you wasted all this time in preparation. And at the same time, it can also make you feel like you have no upward mobility. And this happens quite a bit. It can make you feel like you are just worthless. It happens. But that is a form of catastrophizing because you're not worthless. And one person saying no, even 10 people saying no, is not going to get you. At some point in your life, and I'm not saying that's right now, because we're talking about just step 1 right now. I'm about to give you a preview of step 12. When you get older and more mature and more confident, you're going to stop giving a shit. And you're going to value yourself, because the goal of this exercise is to get you out there and overcome your fears and gaining your confidence and raising it. Right? But the ultimate goal is that you'll get to a point where you value yourself and you understand how much you are worth, how much your work and your time is worth, and you're going to love yourself. And for some of you, that may take years. Lord knows it took me years. It happens. You have to eventually love yourself, not from an egotistical perspective, but from a honest, humble Buddhist perspective of, okay, I'm a flawed person. I'm not perfect, but these are the things that I like about myself, and the things that I don't like, I can work on. Once you accept that, once you get into that reality, you will become that much closer to being self-actualized. And when you become self-actualized, you're at that point, fear is still there because you need it to survive, but your confidence will overcome it each and every time. So, first step is write down your fear, then write down the worst and best outcomes of what you're afraid of. And obviously, these are things that you can control. If your biggest fear, for example, is you're worried about your mom or dad dying, well, chances are they're going to die at some point in your life because they're older than you. So what you want to do is you want to spend as much time with them as possible before that happens. But you don't want to think about them dying because it's going to put you in a bad mood and make you sad. Just appreciate and enjoy the time that you have with them. And that's a different video because I'm going to do a video about living in the moment, because that is, to me, the big problem with anxiety and fear is people not living in the moment. And we'll talk about that in a different video. But yeah, write down what you want to work on and understand that even if you fail, even at this, like if you do this exercise, you write down the best and worst outcomes, and you realize that the answer is going to be somewhere in the middle or maybe even lean to one direction, but still, it's probably not going to be as bad as you think, or it might actually be the good outcome. Then at that point, you'll understand that in life, very rarely does the worst thing ever happen to us, but sometimes it does. However, if you are prepared for it, the blow will be a lot less impactful. In some cases, you can prepare for it. You just can't. A car runs over your dog. That's going to suck. You can't help it. You can't do anything about it when it's done. It's done. So there are situations in life where bad things happen, but that has nothing to do with your own confidence. Your confidence is how you feel about yourself, and you eventually come to once you work on yourself and do these things and slowly begin winning and achieving your goals, you really kind of become this person where even if you don't get the outcome you wanted, you may be sad for a while, and that's certainly something that you have every right to be. You may be upset, but you heal. You pick yourself off, you dust yourself off, and you go for the next stage in your life. But it all starts with recognizing what it is you're afraid of. And if it's more than one thing, write down more than one thing. And then slowly begin to get there, because confidence is not about losing. If you lose in life, because I said before that to gain confidence, you have to win, but it's not about necessarily winning and losing. Let me explain what I meant by that. If you lose at something, no matter what it is, if you get rejected by a coworker, a boss, a potential lover, whatever, being confident is recognizing that, okay, this person rejected me for whatever reason. It could be the way I look, the way I smell, my attitude. It could be the way that they're attracted to people. They might like somebody who doesn't look like me, or they might not be into me for whatever reason that is, doesn't matter. But that does not take away my value as a person. I want you to write that down. If I lose at something, it does not take away my value as a person. And if you have to write that down over and over again, if you have to say that to yourself every morning for 5 minutes, do it. Do it. Because then it's not about losing, man. It's about being able to recognize, okay, I lost. What's next? How can I get my next victory? That's why Talib Kweli, in that one song, he says, even when we count the losses, how did it go? Even when we suffer losses, we account the victory. Even when we suffer losses, we account the victory. That's a line from a Talib Kweli song, Reflection Eternal. And that's a beautiful line that I didn't really understand till I got older. And the line makes sense. Yeah, you're going to lose. You can't win at everything. You cannot win at everything. Not every video I upload is a banger. I wish they were, ain't the case. Not everything I do will get received properly. Not every joke I make will get laughed at. Not every person I talk to is going to like me. That's just how it is. Every person is different. In your case, though, once you understand that two things. Number one, other people's thoughts and opinions are not reflective of reality. And number two, you can lose at things, and to be confident is to still love yourself even after you've lost at things, and to dust yourself off and go for it again. That is how you become a winner in life. That is how you become a winner in life. And there are so many stories of very wealthy, famous people, entrepreneurs, athletes who lost before they won. Tons of stories of filmmakers having this great idea and getting rejected. Star Wars was rejected by multiple studios before Fox accepted it. Think about that. The biggest movie franchise ever before the MCU was rejected. 1977 Star Wars. So, if something that great can get rejected, surely you can. Surely I can. We all can. Because we're no different than Star Wars in that not everyone's going to recognize our value. But as long as we remember our own value, and as long as we know that we have something positive to contribute to the world, then that's where the confidence really comes from. That's real confidence. Because once you have that, you could ask 100 girls out on a date. And if they all reject you, it might sting a little bit because your ego's going to get bruised. It happens, but when time passes, it's going to be like, you know what? That might be the best thing that ever happened to me because now I have the girl that I want. And it wasn't the one that I thought I wanted. Or now I have more freedom. There's all kinds of ways you kind of, rationalize things. But life has a funny way of sort of course correcting things. So if you go to A and B and you get rejected, what about C? What about D? The one thing you can't do is give up, man. But the most important thing you can do is remember that you are valuable. And once you accept that you are a valuable asset. Now, if you're an asshole and a lazy bum, you can work on that too. I might do a video about that. But once you recognize that you're not a bad person, if you're truly not bad, you can use these techniques to improve yourself and to really ascend. And that's how you build up your confidence. And eventually you get to a point, which takes years to get there, where you become self-actualized, aka alpha, where you are so confident that if you see a guy who's got 10 times the money as you do, it doesn't bother you. Envy is gone, jealousy is gone. You instead respect people who have made it. And you want to be like them, and you will be like them because you have that mindset. I'm telling you a secret that I say 95% of people don't know, or if they know it, they don't ever apply it. I'm telling it to you right now, yo. Because I'm in a place right now where I'm pretty damn happy with my life. And I wasn't always like this. And I want everybody else to get there too. That's it. Take care. See you next time.